I don't know what I'm allowed to say on breakfast TV, but I actually quite like the bulldozer war. No, maybe not as dangerous as that crazy scene that we have just seen. Just something as simple as sitting down, because of how often we find ourselves doing it on a daily basis, can be incredibly unhealthy. What we're about to explore now is going to shock you. I hope you are sitting down. No, in fact, I hope you're standing up for this one. Rather alarmingly, it seems that sitting down is becoming the new smoking. We know that school kids sit for the majority of their day immobile. And at work, you can often find us sitting staring at our computer screens.
Many of us sit in our cars or on the train when commuting, and when we get home, we like to sit and catch up on series. When seated, we tend to lean forward with a curved back, a position that puts uneven pressure on our spines. Over time, this puts wear and tear on our spinal discs, overworks certain ligaments and joints, and puts strain on muscles that stretch to accommodate our posture.
The harsh reality is that most of us sit for up to 9.3 hours a day. Let's face it, that's more than most of us sleep. Ooh.
We know there are adaptive changes in the body due to prolonged sitting. Specifically, muscles atrophy, muscles become weaker, joints become stiffer. The length of time we sit as well means that often we fatigue and we no longer have a good upright posture. The slouch position puts extra pressure on our lumbar spine, specifically the discs, and also on the upper body around the shoulder blades and the neck region.
This humped shape also shrinks the chest cavity, reducing the amount of space our lungs have to expand into when you breathe.
With so much of our work and our lives revolving around sitting down in a stationary position, it is very difficult to break that cycle. So let's approach it from this angle and investigate what actually happens to your body when you're sitting down.
When we sit, our muscles are bunched up, which blocks off circulation, similar to how water cuffs off when you pinch a hosepipe. The enzymes responsible for breaking down fat plunge, and because of the prolonged inactivity, your muscles begin to break down. Gradually, their contractions become weaker, impeding the pumping of blood to your heart.
It's all about trying to maintain a balance. You know, prolonged sitting, if you're not moving at some point, your body is going to change, and it's not changing for the better.
So if you're standing and not using an ingenious device like this, you are not getting oxygen into your bloodstream or into your muscles, and most importantly, into your brain.
Just as research shows that exercise doesn't necessarily counteract the negative effects of smoking, it doesn't counteract the negative effects of too much sitting.
Even if you've worked out regularly, the second you stop moving, the deterioration begins. And the scary part is, it's in direct relation to the amount of time that you're sitting down.
Various desk fittings allow you to create raised surfaces from which to work. Wearables like activity trackers help us be more mindful of how much we are actually moving throughout our day, and can be a good way to monitor yourself and also reward yourself for increased mobility.
So in closing, it's time to take a stand, rise up against the seated, get on your own 2 feet, and walk the walk. Walk the walk indeed. Now that we fully understand the dangers of sitting down, especially taking into account those patterns in our lives and how often we do it, we are looking for answers. And I think with a very novel answer, Jan Former, Managing Director of Walk&Work, now joins us. You've covered almost
11 minutes now, so it just started out.
You've probably done about half a kilometer in the time that you've been walking next to me. This amazes me. As someone who is very active, this does make a lot of sense. How did this idea come to you? This seems like a really simple, obvious idea.
Right. So 4 years ago, I had an IT business, and I was sitting for 10 hours a day. And I thought, if I'm going to do this for a longer time, I'm going to develop serious back problems. And I heard about this treadmill desk idea. No one in South Africa was building one, making one, so I built my own. And that's 4 years ago, and now we're still walking and working 4 hours a day, and every year I walk the equivalent from Cape Town to Joburg and back, all the while doing email, reading.
Is this not distracting? I suppose that would be my obvious question. Is it not a part of your mind more worried about you tripping and falling on yourself?
Yeah.
I mean, some of us have enough trouble just running on a treadmill, you know?
It's actually quite the opposite. See, first of all, I walk at a very slow pace, so 2 kilometers an hour, and then there's this foam pad here that keeps me really centered on the treadmill, and it stabilizes my hands. I can move my mouse, I can type very easily, and for that you can work for 4 hours without getting out of breath, because it's such a slow pace. You want to try it out?
I really do want to try it out. I think you can see.
So the trick is,
All right.
that's it.
There we go.
So you're now walking at 1.5 kilometers an hour.
Okay.
This is an ideal speed to start out at. And then this is a height of, what is
So
your
you can just set
perfect,
it
perfect height
perfectly
for
your
you?
height.
Yeah.
So what are the actual health benefits? What is happening to my body while I'm doing this?
Okay.
Why is this such a good alternative?
If you're sitting now for longer periods, your metabolism drops, you have your bad cholesterol that started raising, and with sitting, it's not exercise, it's more an activity. So you shouldn't be replacing the treadmill desk with your gym visit. This is reduce your 10 hours of sitting to, let's say, 5 hours per day of sitting. Break up your sitting bouts.
How readily available is this in the market today? Are companies cottoning on? Are you starting to see a bit of a shift in the mindset within the corporate sector where I would imagine something like this is probably most desperately needed?
Definitely, yes. So we started out selling these treadmill desks 1 year ago, and we've been selling to the early adopters, and they love it. Now we're getting into the companies that buy this as a shared resource. So you'll find this in common places where people would go out for 1 hour to work on a treadmill desk and then go back to their desk, because you don't walk for a whole day.
Yeah,
you just go
completely,
here for a couple hours and then you go back.
I love it, and there is something about it. We were joking about the fact that when you're talking on your cell phone, you'll often just walk off.
Yes, that's the first thing you
subconsciously
do.
move around, and there is something about that where you stop thinking about what you're doing in terms of the physical activity, and you
Right.
actually free up your mind and
Yes.
focus.
It gets the blood flowing. I mean, I tend to be more focused. I can think more clearly. I'm really plugged in after.
I love it, man, and it is completely comfortable. And I do have an inner ear issue, so if we were going to get squirrely, it would have happened by now. No, this is really impressive, and now knowing fully how bad a sedentary lifestyle is, I think we found the answer. Jan, thank you
Yes.
so much for connecting with us this morning.
great.
I want this now for the rest of the day. I'm going to be doing all of my work on the treadmill. Now, very, very impressive stuff, guys. What do you think?